Ethereum. It's been ripping, baby. Vitalik coin is back. We're on the daily charts here. You can see 13 of the last 14 daily candles have been in the green. Might be 12 out of 14 by the time you watch this video. You know you love to see it. But given that we're most likely in the later stage of the bull run, assuming they don't get some kind of extended market cycle, which I still think is a valid theory to be discussed, but that's for a different video. And of course, by that, we mean that we've probably got another 5 or 6 months of positive price action if the 4-year cycle holds, okay, before the next bear market. 4-year cycle, I do have my doubts on that. But anyway, that's a different conversation. So I want to take another look at the ETH charts here, some other perspectives, and ask where we can realistically expect Ethereum to top out this cycle. That is the question for today. How high might ETH go for the rest of 2025? So let's dive in. Let's start with the old Fibonacci Extension projection, baby. It's the classic. It's the good one. Going back and measuring ETH's 2017 price at the cycle top to the 2018 price at the cycle bottom, and then extending that projection over the 2021 price. Actually, I think, Lark, while we're talking about 2021 for it, this is important. Just stick with me for a second. You can see that ETH in 2021 topped out just under the 3.618 Fibonacci extension line at about $4,900. The closeness to this line is absolutely insane. So if we run that same measurement for this cycle, taking the 2021 cycle peak and the 2022 cycle bottom, and then projecting the Fibonacci lines out over the current cycle, well, here is where the Fibonacci lines land at. Okay, about 7,000, 10,000, and 15,000 approximately. Now, given that diminishing returns are here, we tend to see from one cycle to the next, things kind of slow down a little bit as things get bigger. Maybe we don't hit the 3.6 line around 15K or the 4.2 around 17, 18, whatever. These are just approximates, right? So that really brings in the 1.618 line to focus, which is around $7,300, the 2.618 line around $10,000, $11,000. But before we break down the reasoning behind all this, guys, if you're trading the cryptocurrency market, I know you are, you want a great place to do that, somewhere you can trade with freedom without having to give away your KYC information. You can trade anywhere from in the world. That place is Femex. Pretty cool spot. I've been trading over there literally for years at this point, okay? OG exchange, deep liquidity across all the big pairs. And here's the deal right now. Use the link right down here, okay? You're gonna get all kinds of crazy deposit and sign up bonuses as per usual, right? Up to 30,000 bucks apparently. It's a pretty big deal. But more importantly than that, you're going to go straight to VIP level 2. What's that mean? 50% discount on your spot trading fees, 40% discount on your futures trading fees. Now, look, you might think, oh, you know, does that really make a big difference? Look, if you're trading a lot, that makes a big difference to your bottom line, okay? Frequent traders know that. There's a link down below. Go check it out. Thank you very much. Now back to the Ethereum price projection hopium here. Let's start with this range in mind as a potential for where ETH might peak this cycle and see if we get any overlaps from other data that can sort of line up with what we see from the Fibonacci's. So if we imagine ETH's price action as kind of coiling inside of this, well, giant symmetrical triangle since 2021, we can then project a technical price target for when ETH breaks this triangle to the upside. So what we've done here is to measure the bottom to the top of the triangle and then project that out from there. What do we get? Well, when we measure that, starting from the top of the triangle where ETH is most likely to break out to the upside, and the technical target becomes around $7,900, which is just a little bit above the 1.618 Fibonacci line, just coming in just over the $7,000 mark right now. So that's an interesting place to look at least I think for the next major local top. Got to break those damn all-time highs, Ethan. I mean, come on, man. Next, let's discuss the price prediction if Ethereum forms a harmonic butterfly pattern on a chart. I know what you're thinking. That sounds like some serious nerdy bullshit. Yeah, let's dive into this, guys. We're going to find all kinds of arcane stuff for you in this video. By the way, this is an idea put out by Ben Cohen, so shout out to him. Anyway, we don't have time to go into super depths of all the little intricacies of the pattern, but the basic idea here is that this pattern comes from Elliott wave theory, okay? And you can see if an asset is forming this butterfly pattern by checking if the wave retracements align with what's shown on this diagram. Now look at this. You can see that I've traced the pattern here starting from the 2021 price peak, which is the X point, all the way to the C point, which is where ETH bottomed just below $1,400 in April. Now take notice here how Ethereum's Fibonacci retracements thus far have generally lined up with this developing butterfly pattern. So ETH's A to B line retraced 80% of the X to the A line, which is pretty close to the diagram's 78.6%. And again, in technical analysis, nothing's ever perfect. It's not a science, it's more of an art, but there's definitely some science and mathematics informed in the art. And then from ETH B to C, the line retraced 84% to the AB line, which is somewhat close to the diagram's 88.6%. Therefore, if ETH is to print a D point by the end of the year, that's at the lower Fibonacci percentages, then that puts us at $5,800. However, if ETH is to print a D point by the end of the year, that's at the higher Fibonacci levels, and that puts us at $7,300, which is where the 1.618 Fibonacci line sits at for this cycle, which of course we've already discussed earlier. So just to round that up, if this harmonic butterfly pattern ends up printing here on the price charts, then the D price should then in theory come in close to $5,800, which is just a little blip over the previous all-time highs. Not a super strong move in that case for ETH, to be honest. But if it comes close to $7,300, I think that's a decent case for a next major local peak for ETH. So those are some technical perspectives for a lot of the things we look at too, but I think those ones are pretty interesting. Now, let's take a look at the prediction and options markets and see what they're telling us. So Kalshi bettors say there's a 56% chance that ETH breaks above 5K this year. Doesn't even sound like a crazy bet at this point. But of course, from everything that we're seeing, it appears the odds of this happening could be higher than 56%. You think about all the ETH treasury companies, all BS going on in the background, the ETF inflows, all that sort of stuff. So there might be a value bet here on the yes odds if you're a betting person in the prediction markets. Now, Polymarket doesn't even have a market for how high ETH's price might go this year. Come on, Polymarket, let's get on it. Anyway, unfortunately, the prediction markets don't provide us with a super huge amount of useful data, and prediction markets, they tend to move harder towards price targets when the price gets closer to those targets. Anyway, turning now to Deribit's options data, the implied odds on ETH's call options for the end of December expiries are 5K at 37%, 6K at 23%, 7K at 15%, 8K at 10%, 9K at 6%, and 10K at 4%. That's the options data. Now, finally, I want to get one more opinion before I tell you sort of my thoughts on all this. We're going to ask SuperGrok, so that's X's AI. So here's the prompt to put in. From everything you know and can access, if you had to make a prediction as to where Ethereum's price would top out this cycle, where would that price be? Give me one number. So that's the prompt we put in for SuperGrok here. So SuperGrok took a few minutes, took about 4 minutes to get a good answer here out of SuperGrok, and the answer was $12,000. Now you can feel free to take a quick second here and pause the video so you can read SuperGrok's logic as to why $12,000 is a reasonable price target, because it's pretty interesting. Now, to wrap up this video, by the way, $12,000 is right around the 2.618 Fibonacci level, just in case you were wondering. Now, here's all the data we went through, and what's my opinion on this question specifically? Well, at the end of the day, my thinking is that ETH probably tops out 10,000 plus. Now, the 3.618 Fibonacci target, which we got to last cycle, comes in around 15,000 bucks. Do we get there? Can I see a blow-off peak where we trade there for like a couple days? Maybe. But I think the meat of the move will have happened, of course, if we can get to $10,000. If you've been riding ETH for a long time and it gets to 10K and you're not going to start taking anything off the table, you're probably crazy at that point, to be honest. And we see all the ETF inflows and we see the treasury companies and all that stuff lining up. And I'm already seeing stupid price predictions coming out. People are like, it's going to like $44,000 or something. Man, you think going to $44,000 a cycle? Are you kidding me, man? Have you done the market cap calculations on what a $44,000? You're telling me ETH's worth what, like Nvidia, the most important chip manufacturer in the world? I have my doubts. Now, a $15,000 cycle peak is pretty damn good, even from the current levels. It's a nice gain. It's 400% from here, if you can hit that target. But the most important thing is what that's going to do to the rest of the market. If ETH rallies that hard, 10K plus. And I'll probably take profits on my ETH bags, either when we get over the 0.05 ETH BTC ratio, or if we get over sort of that 1.618 Fibonacci line around 7K, or if we get up to 10K, somewhere in that range, we'll look to take profits on the ETH bags. And you might think, well, but Lark, if it's going to go 15K, why wouldn't you wait till then? Caught the meat of the move. It's fine. It's fine. It's enough. it's enough. The intention here for me with the ETH trade currently was always just to double the Bitcoin that I put into it. If that ends up being successful, then fantastic. I'm out on ETH, and thank you very much, Vitalik, for the good times. We'll come back and see you again in the bear market, okay? But if ETH gets to 10K, and there's going to be a lot of sellers when we start getting up to 5-digit ETH, okay? When we get to 10K, then we can see a big move because of low supply on exchanges and treasury companies and all that kind of stuff coming in, right? We can see a big move real quick happen for ETH up to one of those bigger price points. But if you're not even thinking about taking profits at 10K, because you're going to wait for another, 30-40% move when you've already caught multi-100% of the move, you're doing the game wrong. Okay, remember, take your profits or the market will take them for you. Don't marry any of these bags. At the end of the day, another bear market will come. All these ETF buyers at some point will be ETF sellers. All of these treasury companies at some point, they'll have problems, or the prices of the stocks will go down. They'll stop buying, and then we hit and run into trouble for ETH and all other assets that have treasury companies, okay? Just keep a sober mind about this, okay? Price predictions are fun, and like I said, 15K is on the table. That's the 3.618 Fibonacci line approximately, okay? The 2.618 around 10 to 11K, also a very likely scenario where we could top out at, especially if we believe in the diminishing returns between cycles. Last time we got 3.618. Why not this time we get to the 2.618? Seems logical, doesn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.